That'll mute us too when we go.
Lock your doors and your windows. I know what I'm doing. That's right. Yeah. Well, can you describe this guy? Was he fair? Was he dark?
In the dark, he was pretty fair.
I see. And you have a name? How do you have a name?
I just called him Loverboy.
Loverboy.
Yeah.
Have you seen Loverboy lately?
Not in some time.
I see. Well, probably because he wasn't a man of substance.
Yeah.
A man of character.
Yeah.
A man of the community.
Yeah.
A man people could really respect.
Yeah.
A man, for instance, like my new friend Bill Sweet. He's a man of substance, a man of character,
Yeah.
a man of the community.
Where's he sitting?
He's sitting right over here.
Let me see him.
He's right there.
Good heavens!
What's the matter?
That's Loverboy! You won't die, you!
All right.
Where have you been?
All right.
I have one thing to say to him.
What's that?
Hello, welcome to Landon Live. My name is Landon Harvey, and tonight we have ventriloquist and speaker Al Getler. Al, how are you doing tonight?
Landon, I could not be happier to be here with you, buddy. I feel like I have watched you grown up here in ventriloquism. This is awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this, and we look forward to hearing your story. Let's get right into it. How did you get into ventriloquism?
Well, you know, I grew up in the New York City area. I grew up in first kid to grow up in New Jersey, actually. My family's from North Manhattan, the Bronx, and I had a lot of New York television, Landon. And back in the day in the New York City area, so we're talking back in the 60s, there was lots of after-school programming. We had Officer Joe Bolton. We had, Captain Jack McCarthy. We had Three Stooges on the block. Paul Winchell, of course, had his show back then. Jimmy Nelson used to be a regular on a lot of the talk shows back in the day, just always popping up. The Paul Ash puppets, there was just so much going on. Sherry Lewis, a New York, ventriloquist. So I got curious, but it's funny. The thing that really got me, I think, the most interested was Ralph the dog, who, of course, was a character from Jim Henson. And he was on the Jimmy Dean show. That's what grabbed my attention on puppets. And then I kind of reversed my way back into ventriloquism. And then my brother Bill, or Duke was his nickname, he bought me a dummy for Christmas in the Christmas of 1969. I was 8 years old, and that's when I got my first dummy for Christmas. I stood in front of the mirror for the entire day until I got it down pat, and there you go. The rest is history.
Wow. Wow, that's phenomenal. How did you go from studying the art of ventriloquism to implementing comedy and realizing that character is important and building on that?
Oh, you know what? It was Jimmy Nelson. I mean, I wish I could move around the office here a bit, because On that wall over there is the Jimmy Nelson album, you know, framed. You know, back you can see over my shoulder right there where my finger is. That's the Edgar Bergen album framed. These are the actual albums that I listened to hundreds and hundreds of times. The Jimmy Nelson Blue album, it's Instant Ventriloquism 2, or Ventriloquism 2, is the one that really, and you know, it's funny, I don't have that on my wall. That's the one that really is the one that really caused the arc into the comedy part of it. Because Jimmy spent a lot of time talking about acting, reacting, comedy, ad-libbing, you know. I learned later on in life that the best ad-libs are the most well-rehearsed. You know whose quote that is, by the way? I'm sorry? You know whose quote that is, by the way? No, I don't. Yeah, it's a guy doing jail time right now. Bill Cosby said that. So, but he was a great comedian. Yeah, he was. I had a chance to work with Bill Cosby, a fabulous comedian. The shame what happened, but that's what he said. Best ad-libs are most well-rehearsed, and he was right. You know, you pick up an ad-lib, you remember that, it comes into replay, you do it again later on. So that's how that works. Yeah. Wow, that's phenomenal. My dad actually, when he was younger, he picked up ventriloquism for a while, and he had. I remember that. You remember I interviewed you for the USA Today Network. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it was neat going to the convention a couple of years back because he got to meet Jimmy, and it was a neat thing because I got to see that the magic in his eyes and how Jimmy, you know, had an impact on him as a kid. Oh, you froze on me, buddy. Go ahead and if well, folks, I don't know if you can hear me, but Landon's signal has frozen. I am looking on my phone, and I see that you got me still. So, yeah, I'm just checking to see if it recovers here. And he may need, he's going to have to sign back on. So, I don't know if you can still hear me or not. But I guess I'm hosting the show now. So, this is Landon live. If I am still live, I'm watching to see if I am. But Landon is a brilliant young guy, and I think he's having just a little internet problem. So yeah, look at that. It's just me. So I'm the new host of Landon Live. I'm Al Getler, and obviously our young host. Let me see if you guys can hear me too, audio-wise. Yeah, I am. I can hear you. So I cannot see your comments. I can see your comments here. So if you have a question for me, let's see. Don Rickles. Act is totally, I don't know what we're talking about there, but we hear you, Al. Thank you, Chuck. I don't know how this happened, but I've taken over Landon Live. Tom Pace says hi. Dennis Acosta says hi. I'll remember all those 60s great times. Hey, it's Bob Rumba, someone says. What figure did you get? Oh, that's a great question. My brother, I wish I could move my camera around. My brother gave me a figure. It was boxed as Danny O'Day when I got him. Many people know him as Little Ricky. He came with a red suit jacket, a Juro figure, and tan pants and little plaid bow tie. That's what I got from my brother that Christmas. And then I saved for, I feel bad, Landon's not here. I saved for a Danny 400. Does somebody have a Danny 400 picture they can throw up there real quick for the folks on Facebook to see? But yeah, it was a, I'll show you what I have. Poor Landon. I don't know what happened to him. This is a converted Danny 400 figure. So this was the original figure that I had from saving my money from the first Little Ricky puppet. So this guy was the Danny 400 was a basic figure. Didn't have hair. Didn't have moving eyes. Had the eyebrows that raised. And I had him converted by Clinton. Well, hey, you're back. I started doing. Hey, we are. All right, I'm going to put him back down now. I'll tell the fun of a live show is that you never know what's going to happen. Well, when you watch the replay, dude, I start doing your show for you. So there you go. Oh, great. See, that's what's great. You've done enough of these where you can just pick it right back up, which is great because we were speaking about ad-libbing and improvisation. So there,
You know, it all.
I think the gods of ad-lib, you know what? I think the gods of ad-lib heard me there, Landon. So that's what happened. I'm so glad you're back because I was starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, I was too, trying to figure out what's wrong with mine.
Yeah, you have a storm going on down there or something? What happened to your internet?
Yeah, you know, it's I blame Texas weather. That's usually what we do here. So,
yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about your first ventriloquist figure. You talked some about that.
Yeah, while you were gone, somebody asked me on Facebook what the first dummy was that my brother bought me. He's up there, which I keep kind of pointing off camera, but Little Ricky was what he was boxed as. He was also boxed as Danny O'Day, which is how I got him. One of the stuffed body Juro figures with the plastic heads. That was my first one for a number of years. And then I saved for, I was just telling your audience, I saved for the Danny 400, which was a Juro figure. You look in the back of the head there, you can see the original string that came down from that hole right there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So what happened was Clinton Detweiler would take it, and there's Clinton's handwriting right there with my name on it. But actually, these controls were modified once for my daughter, MK. I made them smaller when she was into ventriloquism, so they were a little bigger at one point. But he added new controls and moving eyes, and the eyes move back and forth, and so the eyelids. So I probably did Landon, and he also built up the body and everything too. I probably did 500 shows with this little guy at least.
Wow.
Birthday parties, Cub Scout shows, all kinds of things with this little Juro figure that was converted by Clinton Detweiler. That's the original paint job. Obviously, the original hair. But yeah, so that's what I used for many, many years. With further proof that it doesn't matter what kind of puppet you use. You just got to get out there and do the show.
Yeah, and then you can create a great character from the most simple of a puppet too.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and he was what a treasure to have him. That not only did I use him, but then my daughter used him as well. So yeah, that definitely must have been neat. So you had that figure for a while. When did you feel like you wanted to add another character or maybe evolve that character in your act? Well, yeah, I there was a ventriloquist convention that was going on that I heard about, right? And, started in 1975. I think I became aware of it probably not long after that. I wrote to Mayor Studios as a Cub Scout. And started getting news events and all that, and started reading about this convention. And then there's a guy named Lee Pittsburgh. Maybe he's even watching tonight. If you are, hi, Lee. Lee lived in the next town over. We had 6 kids. Lee's dad worked in New York City, and they had, Lee and his sister. And anyway, they were able to be a bit more mobile than we were as a family. So Lee went to the convention almost from the beginning. And I remember hearing his stories about the convention every summer. And oh my God, I was so jealous. But I knew he had these big dummies, but I never kind of asked where he got them or how he got them. And finally, one day, whether it was Lee or somebody else, said, there's a guy in New Jersey that makes dummies, and you should go talk to him. So at that point, I was probably a senior in high school, and I went to work for the county for a play that actually we toured campgrounds. Probably did playgrounds. Probably did a couple of hundred shows that summer. and that figure was called Paul Donnelly. He started the summer out with me, but then I was able to raise up enough money to go see a guy named Alan Seamock. Yes. Alan had some, I was intending on ordering a custom dummy from Alan, and then he had some stuff that he wanted to show me that he had just made. And so I went to his shop, and there were 2 heads sitting on a bench. One had glasses and one didn't. I took the glasses from one figure to another.
And that was me.
That was you, yeah?
Yeah, that's me, Floyd.
That's you, And Floyd, you've been with the act for a lot of time. Yeah, 1979. Yeah, that was yeah. So that's Floyd, yeah. So Floyd is a Seamock.
Yes, I am. Talk to that like I'm not here.
No, you're here. He is. He was made by Alan. He's a brilliant figure. He's got a very unique look. You know, one of the things about Floyd, you mind if I talk about you technically? Sure, sure. So Floyd does not have moving eyes, does not have enclosing eyelids, doesn't have eyebrows that go up and down. I'm like my favorite ventriloquist figure, who's Charlie McCarthy. That's right. You're a lot like Charlie McCarthy. Yeah. You don't have those animations. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, you know what I learned a lot, Landon, over the years, not even having been to the convention, but watching as much as I could on television, reading as much as I could from news events, is that you had to keep that figure moving. You had to keep that figure alive. Yeah. You had to really make him part of the conversation at all times. Yeah. So that's how that worked. Yeah. Yeah. But I think my biggest break in ventriloquism, actually, mind if I put you down? Check right ahead. Yeah. My biggest break as a unit in ventriloquism was, go ahead.
Are you saying that you don't need a dummy that has 1,000 movements to be funny?
I am absolutely stating that, my friend.
Really? Okay, that's okay.
Do I sense some sarcasm out of you, Mr. Harvey?
No, but it's, you know what? It's funny because everyone realizes that at one time or another. It's an important thing. You know?
As you probably have seen me and know, when I'm at the museum, when we're doing our tours,
yes.
I oftentimes am blessed that I am assigned the McElroy, figure, to demonstrate, and I don't certainly do it nearly as well as Jeff Dunham does.
Well, he owns 3 of them though, right?
No, I know that, but I'm honored that I'm able to do that. And so, there's a figure that has all these movements, and it's so much fun to show him off. But at the very end, I mean, you see the wall behind me, who is it's dedicated to primarily.
Yes,
it's Edgar Bergen. I just think Bergen absolutely laid down the law for us in modern ventriloquism when it came to characterization, humor, voices, all of that. And then people like you with soft figures. I mean, you see that one. I keep getting the hands wrong on. You see who that is right there? I can't very well. That's Jim Henson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can.
So Henson was, of course, everything was in reaching distance here. Hold on, before I get off camera, I'm going to spot this book before I grab it. I have a children's book here. That did I move it? Let me see. Nope, here it is. I have a children's book here that somebody wrote. It's called The Guy Who Played with Puppets, Jim Henson. And what I love about this book is Henson had the same wonderment that you and I had. And I love this illustration in the book because, who's that but Charlie McCarthy, Yeah. So, this book is to teach kids about who Jim Henson was. And there's Charlie's picture in the middle of it. Charlie and Edgar were the ones that really just kind of laid out the way puppetry worked, the way realism worked, the way voices worked, the believability of characters, which is why Ralph the dog was so incredibly important to me.
Yes, and what's interesting about that, talking kind of about hard figures and soft figures together, is that you did a live interview with Jeff Dunham for the Vent Haven convention a few days back, and Jeff was on there. He was displaying. He was making a hard figure peanut doll to have reproduced and sold to all of his fans. And it was interesting hearing him talk about it because in his show, Peanut's a soft character, and it's interesting because you see all of his other characters are hard figures, but when you have Peanut, it's more physical, and so it's a different level of comedy, which is interesting that he has his Peanut, and it's so different, and I think that's really what makes Peanut such a lovable character.
Well, Peanut is as Jeff knows, has always been my favorite. It's the silliest. It's the silliest side of Mr. Dunham you're ever going to see.
Yeah,
my favorite thing that Peanut does to Jeff that's funny is when Jeff goes and Peanut right in his face, and to me that's just so hysterical. It's like getting in your grill, and it's a great bit. But that's exactly right. The physicality of Peanut is way different than Walter's everything right there.
Sure.
Peanut's constantly moving. There's another bit. In fact, right now on YouTube, if somebody hasn't seen it, there is some of the best of Peanut on YouTube. And I can tell you, I mean, when you look at that compilation of things that Jeff does with Peanut, it's just it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting too, looking at it from analytical point is how that character has evolved so much.
Yes.
Too.
Yes. Well, you know, all of Jeff's characters have evolved.
Oh, sure.
Every good character evolves. And, you know, we talked about it the other day. I'm not going to be able to find it as fast as I'm going to talk about it, but we talked about the questionnaire. In fact, one guy wrote to me out of that whole audience looking for a copy of this questionnaire. So hats off to him. But this character questionnaire is the whole deal. You know, it's the thing I talked about the other day. What drives the character? You know what? So I haven't done this yet for one character we're going to talk about later that I'm working on. But you've got to understand these things about characters, otherwise it doesn't come out. And the other evolution I mentioned the other day that I love to talk about is the evolution of Ahmed. You know, he started off as a bad A terrorist. You know,
right?
And all of a sudden, Jeff mentioned it was the Christmas special, where, you know, the softer side comes out of Ahmed, and his voice goes up here like this. You know, that's exploration, that's play, that's fun. It's awesome. Yeah. You know? Oh,
it's hilarious, the things that, I mean, he's a comedic genius, but it's also just so heavy in the character involvement, minding the monsters too. You know, all the characters are dressed up and all the different, you know, it's really talk about adding depth to a character. You know, a lot of people, anyone that would pick up, you know, an evil looking, puppet like Ahmed would never even think of that side of him, and all the comments you can get in the switch too is great. So that's a neat thing. And you've grown up. Speaking of Jeff, you've grown up with him, and when did you guys meet? Did you guys meet at convention, and were there other events that were your age?
No, actually, it's a great question. Jeff and I did not meet at the convention. Jeff and I started off as I don't know who called who first, but we started off talking on the phone a lot when we were younger. But when I say younger, late teens, early 20s. And then my wife, Nancy, and I got married fairly young. I was 22, became a father very young. In fact, my oldest birthday is tomorrow. You know, she's 36. So I was 23 when she was born. And that's her Uncle Jeff. You know, and he's been around ever since then, and in my two older daughters' lives. So, you know, as young people, we hung out a lot. We lived outside of New York City, so Jeff would stay with us from time to time. There's the now infamous story from his first biography special, you know, where he talks about our comedy club excursion that time, and you know, so yeah, you know, it's been fun watching Jeff. You know, just grow and just, you know, he's done amazing things. Stuff we talked about as dreaming. You know, little Jeff, way up on my top shelf there. Little Jeff was a conversation we had over a bowl of ice cream one night. I'll never forget it. How we'd love to make the ultimate toy dummy one day for kids. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't forget, there's a bunch of adults that have it too. And I
know. I see them. I find videos on TikTok and Instagram, and I send them to Jeff so we can see what people are doing with little Jeff. Oh, you were asking me. So how that evolved was after knowing each other for a bit, while I didn't go to the convention still, I organized events. So the first event I organized was a Verna Finley workshop. You must know who Verna Finley is.
Yes, I'm a big fan of her work.
Yeah. So for folks that don't know, again, Landon, I could reach all over this office and pull things out. I've got a beautiful picture of her over there that Dale Brown just posted the other day. Verna Finley was, she's your grandmother when it comes to soft figures, you know. Yes. We had a workshop, a long weekend. Verna flew up. We started on a Friday night, and in attendance of this workshop was, let's see, Jeff Dunham, a guy named Tom Basu, who a lot of people know have been around for a while. A young lady named Mary Ann Taylor. I don't know whatever became of her. Yeah, she was there. I'm forget. Oh my goodness.
Was Taylor Mason?
Taylor Mason was there. And there were a bunch of other people. Taylor remembered a few more people the other week that I did not remember were there. So anyway, you had all these people in this workshop, and we spent almost 3 solid days together learning how to make soft puppets. I think out of that, the only person that came out of it with any talent at all, who she already had, it was Mary Ann Taylor.
Right.
And it's funny, you know, back then Verna was a little bit more careful about things, and I had to convince her to allow Marianne to come. And thank God I did, because Marianne is just about the most lovely person in the world.
Oh, sweet.
Melissa is great. Wayne is just a buddy of mine. And that just turned out to be a historic weekend all the way around.
So for those that maybe aren't part of the event community or don't know of Verna, could you tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah,
and we're kind of speaking in code right now, Al.
Let me do the most unprofessional thing I possibly can, and drop off camera and grab some photos, and I hope I can grab the big one of her, but I don't think I did. I think it's back in there deeper. So Verna made these fabulous soft figures, and let my camera focus there for a second. So she was the first one that actually turned these figures into something that became a part of performing on stage. And they were just so brilliantly made. That's Judy Bush's old gal figure.
Yes, Daisy.
Takes a minute for the Canon there to focus. You know, she had all types of different characters that she made for people. You told her what you wanted, and she made them. So Verna was just so talented. I wish I could find the larger photo of her more quickly.
And there, Al, when she entered the scene in the ventriloquist community, there wasn't anyone else building soft puppets.
No, none of us had ever seen anything like it before, Landon. No, it was.
So what was? Were you there when she entered the scene, and what was that like?
Well, you know, I think I'm spotting one more thing here that she might the picture might be in. I'd love to show her picture. As far as I know, Verna is still alive. I talked to her last year. Probably 93, 94 years old. What it was like when she hit the scene was, again, nobody had ever seen anything like it before. So to use soft figures, and the guy that really took the biggest dive in soft figures is your friend of mine, Mark Wade. Mark Wade jumped into soft figures, and he kind of blazed a trail. And there is the beautiful Verna Findlay.
Oh, that is a beautiful photo.
I'll make a scan of this and send it to you.
I would love that, Al. You know what's great? I saw a photo of Verna at the drawbridge out by the pool, and surrounding her was like looks like every puppet she ever made. So that is in the again, you're gonna grab from my shelves, right? That is from the Smithsonian Magazine. That picture. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. That was posed by the Smithsonian Magazine photographer, and it's so funny, you know, with COVID, I picked out all kinds of photos. There's Willie Tyler, my beautiful wife, Nancy, with a great pair of New Jersey girl hair. Yeah. We're at, Caroline's Comedy Club, but cool. Yeah. So, it's been a lot of fun, Landon. And so getting around back to the Jeff story, I then did a testimonial happy birthday party for Senior Wences. Okay. Because I got to know Senior Wences when because I lived in New York, in New York City, outside of New York City, had this birthday party. And it was at that point that Jeff came up and where we really started the one-on-one deep friendship together. So, yeah. Alan Seamock performed at that. Stanley Burns performed at that luncheon. Just a really amazing time. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I think it was it's Jeff's new it was Talking Heads. He was talking about how he went through all different types of puppets till he got to Peanut. And I think he had a bunch of Vernon build him a bunch of stuff until he had that Peanut built. So we didn't mention that Verna built Peanut. So yes, yeah. I feel like in this interview I'm carrying this guy Jeff Dunham along with me everywhere I go. So I mean, I know we'll get back to you, but it's neat because we were talking. It was interesting though, because we were talking about growing up with other, being surrounded by other ventriloquists. I could talk about Jeff all night. So yeah. I have you shared this great photo with me. I wasn't able to be at convention last year, but you had taken this great photo. Let's see if we can show it here with some of the up and coming events. So you tell me everybody in there. There's Hannah, right? Yeah. Max Fulham. We're starting with Hannah's on the lower left-hand side. Max Fulham, Jeff. I don't know that young lady's name right there with the black hat on. Do you know her name? I don't know. Yeah. And and I'm there, and then we got a photo bomber in the back there too. But yeah. So I love this photo because this is what at my stage of life, this is what it's kind of all about, is you guys carrying this torch. And
you know, with ventriloquism, when I was a kid, it was a kind of an old man's thing, right? Because, you know, Winchell was older than me, and Jimmy Nelson was older than me, and Bergen was already an older guy at that point. And now I see you young people taking it. I don't mean to sound like an old man, but I really enjoy the fact that, you know, you and Jeff and people like Max Fulham, who's, you know, you're all just starting out, you know, with your creativity. And I love the videos you all do. You're very, very comfortable in front of the camera. I look at Nicholas there in New York City. His dad, Dash, is a magician doing these videos every day. You have to understand that when we were younger, you had the convention, which I didn't get to go to until I was an adult. I'll tell that story in a second. And we had Jimmy's albums, and you stood in our room and you practiced and you practiced and you practiced in front of a mirror and a tape recorder. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's truly a neat thing. And we have the junior and senior open mic every year.
Yes.
Where we have a bunch of new talent. And I believe Nicholas Bushi was there last year and did an amazing job. I got to see his performance on YouTube. Totally his own thing, and it was such a great job. It was really neat to see, you know, him and what he's up to.
Well,
so, and of course, he's been posting his videos on.
He's awesome, but I remember a few years back, I took a video of a young guy up on stage wearing a blue shirt and a black vest, and I took some video of him that I interviewed him out in the gathering area of the hotel, him and his dad, and I wish we had thought to show that video tonight, because that video of you could tell then how deadly serious you are about succeeding in ventriloquism. And that's a rarity, and it's fun to see you doing this now for the art.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I was one determined kid, and like you, I totally get, you know, when I was the only way I got to go to the ventriloquist convention for the first time was because Terry Fader at the time was hosting a scholarship, and I had won it that year, and my parents made
a Terry Fader scholarship winner.
Yeah.
Ah, I never knew that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I won it that year, and my dad, you know, whenever I wanted like a puppet or, you know, something for my show, he's like, you got to work for it. I got to see that you're invested in it, and you know, I always have, and so I've been coming to the convention since, with the exception of last year. But I've also started building puppets, so that kind of justifies